Hello, beloved. Let's talk about Song of Solomon. Last session, we talked about Song of Solomon chapter 5. I'm just going to give you a quick review. We talked about last time, we talked about the beloved, the Sulami lady, the girl crying out to God. Say, awake, north wind, and come, south wind, blow on my garden. The beloved in chapter 4, he has a cry in her heart. Say, God, I will surrender to your way. I will surrender to you. I will become yours. I will become your garden. You do whatever you want to do. And make my life mature. Make my life bear fruit. Make my life have a fragrance for you. Okay, so this beloved have this prayer. The north wind, this challenge, the difficulty. He said, no matter what, okay, this is not gonna change my love for you. And then, so we come into the chapter 5. The chapter 5 is talking about immediately the beloved get tested by God. God is going to test her. Not because God want to like give her a hard time, but God's answer her prayer is going to bring her life into a new level, gonna mature her life through all those testing and we talked about last time our faith will get tested and our love will get tested, but all the things, all the taste in our life will purify our love for God, will strengthen our faith for God. So this is chapter 5, what God's doing in her life. So let's just have a quick review on chapter 5. Okay, so in chapter 5 verse 2, the beloved said, I sleep, but my heart is awake. Okay, she is in spiritual awakening in her life. She is not dull. She is not sleepy in her spiritual life. He's fully awake. She is have love for God, and then she hear bridegroom's voice. She hear Jesus' voice. Okay, and then she heard he's knocking on the door. Saying, open for me. The Jesus is showing the other side of Jesus is when before Jesus going on the cross, and she went to the Gethsemane garden and to pray. So she showed her the image of, the bridegroom with head is covered with dew. Verse 2. My locks, just my hair with the drops of the night. Is showing that right before Jesus going on the cross, how she is how she's perseverance, how he is praying, So he's have a invitation for the beloved coming with him to unite it with Jesus, suffering, united with Jesus, the carry the cross. So that is a spiritual calling. So as you see verse 5, she immediately responded. He said, I will also open for my beloved. and my hands drip with myrrh, my finger with a liquid myrrh on the handle of the lark. You see, we talk about verse 4 that the bridegroom was putting his hand was impart grace, give the impartation to the beloved, to the bride, to give him strength, to give her grace to respond in this special call. So she did. She opened, and her hand is dripped with myrrh. Is respond to this bridegroom who is, with on the verse 2, with the head is covered with dew, and her hair with drop of the night. So he said, my hand and my finger are dripping with myrrh. We talk about a lot of time about myrrh, about suffering, about very bitter but intense fragrance. He's talking about the cross. He's talking about the suffering and perseverance. Okay. So God is inviting her to unite with Him in that part of who God is. Okay. Is inviting him to that. So remember that bridegroom is saying, oh God, I'm yours. No matter doing whatever, I want my garden to bear fruit. I want my garden to have a fragrance come for you. So the north wind come, the challenge, even the difficulty will not stop me to following you, to love you, and I will trust you even in the difficult season and a challenge situation, even in a suffering, loneliness, those kind of situation, that I will still trust you. Just like Jesus, how he trusts the Father. Before he going on cross, he's in that Gethsemane garden, he's praying, oh Father, if you could move away this cup, because this cup is too heavy, this cup is too bitter, but do your will, and I will surrender to you. So Jesus set up the example for us how we're gonna walk in humility, in surrender, in submissive lifestyle relate to God. Jesus set up the example. He left his right. He left his honor and glory, left in heaven, and he come down humble, become a man, and carry out sin and endurance the persecution and the challenge, endurance the cross. And so Jesus set up the example for us. So he's also inviting us into this journey. And see, like in that journey, he will give grace. His hand is touching the handle, and he's imparting the grace. Just like Jesus is praying, and then God sent angels to strengthen him, and he feels strength, and he said, okay, God, I will obey you. I will do your will. I will surrender, even in the facing the suffering and challenge. So, verse 6, she said, I opened for my beloved, but my beloved had turned away and was gone. What Jesus on the cross, You know, we know Father's presence everywhere, but Jesus said, Father, Father, why you forsaken me? You know, just that manifested presence is gone, it's not there, and you are facing in the midst of suffering and challenge, you will not feel connected, you don't feel the presence of God. And here, the beloved is experienced that as well. When she experienced that God's presence gone, is not because her disobedience. Instead of disobedience, actually she's being obedient to God. But remember that north wind, that challenge suddenly come, and that's gonna test her heart. How is she gonna react? Because many of believers who are following God, they see God's, can bless their life. They see God can provide safety. God can provide health. God can provide blessing, or God can provide breakthrough in a ministry, in a business, in the family, all that. But God's testing the beloved now. How about I remove all those blessings? Will you still love me? Will you relate to me only relate to how I bless you, or you related to me because you really love me, really want me as your inheritance? Are you really satisfied just with me, or you are only satisfied when I bless you, when I release my manifest presence and all that blessing your life? So beloved, as a believer, we will all going to face that kind of stage that God is going to test us, test our heart, test our faith. When we don't see Him move, when we don't see He is working, when we have a desperate situation, we want Him to break through, but He is delayed. Will we still trust Him? Will we still surrender to Him? Will we still love Him? And we are not being offended. That's the key. And when we in the midst of challenge and suffering, when we cry out to God, say, God, in midst of challenge, in midst of difficulty and suffering, I still trust you. I know you are still good, God. You are still kind. You are still beautiful, and all your ways are beautiful, and your leadership is perfect. And when we declare to God in the midst of challenge and suffering and attack of the enemy, and God is holding His blessing, He's holding His breakthrough, and we still have this unoffended heart to God, we say, God, I still love you. I miss you. And I love you no matter what. That brings God's glory. You see? And that really tests our faith. Because faith is what? We believe unseen thing. The faith is we haven't seen it, but we believe it. So we believe God's promise. And we believe He said who He is. And when our situation, circumstances, and how we experience doesn't match the reality of God, and we surrender to God, and we declare who God is, and that actually will grow our faith. Our faith will be tested, and our faith will be stronger, and our faith will be tested like gold in a fire. When that fire burning those gold will purify the gold, make gold more pure. All those other metals will be burn away, because when you put all those things in the fire, all the things not gold will be burned off. And what left after that high intensity fire is a pure gold. And God's looking for that. God's looking for that pure gold in our life after our faith has been tested. But when we are in a bad situation, when we are in a life of no challenge and no difficulty, no setback, it's easy to love God, easy to say, oh God, I love you. Okay? But when the situations get hard, when the challenge come, that will expose what's inside of our heart, will expose our weakness, and those things God want to deal with it. God want to purify it. So purify our heart, purify our soul through testing. Okay, God doesn't want to see us we suffer. No, He doesn't. But He allows suffering in our life, so that we can draw near to Him. He can draw near to us, and our relationship actually go deeper in that way. Okay, and also when we, when our love got tested, when we see it's the darkness and we don't see God break through, and we feel the delay of God's promise, and we in that midst of struggle and suffering, and we are still say, God, I trust your leadership, and I know you love me, and I love you. I will not move away. I will not quit. I will not draw back. I will not be offended. When in that situation, you give thanks to God. In that situation, when you say, God, I love you, man, that's powerful. That is a declaration before demons and enemies. And that's a declaration of a whole heavenly realm. And that really touched God's heart when we, in the midst of suffering and challenge, and we still say, God, I'm not offended, and God, I love you. Oh, that will touch God's heart. That will ravish God's heart. Amen. Okay, let's keep going. So in verse 6, he said, I saw him, but I could not find him. I called him, but he gave me no answer, beloved. Sometimes God will allow this kind of season in your life. You feel, I used to, when I worship, when I pray, when I read Bible, when I just in my daily life, I feel His presence. I feel He's talking to me. I feel I'm so close to Him. But suddenly, in a season, I didn't sin against Him. I'm not compromised in my life. I still love Him, but suddenly I feel there's a dryness in my life. I feel there's a silence in my life. That's I don't hear Him clearly. I don't feel that the touch in my heart, but I still do what I'm supposed to do. I will still sit in His feet. I still worship. I'm still praying in that season. See, so bridegroom Jesus is bringing her into that season of suddenly he feel the silence of God. He feel kind of, God's presence is always there. He will never leave. But I'm talking about the manifest presence that in that season he don't feel that sense of grace in her life. And not even God is withdraw His presence, but also verse 7. So let me explain this to you. Sometime in your life, we will take granted of the grace of God in our life. When you wake up in the morning and you just have a desire to draw near to Him, to worship Him, and when you worship, you feel He's touching you. You feel He's speaking to you. When you have an unusual desire to go deep in Him and reading the Bible, You know, that's that like first 1 or 2 chapter when that beloved is saying, oh God, that may you kiss my heart with a kiss of your mouth. That means kiss of your word. And I am like sitting in your chamber. I'm sitting under the tree, and I'm feasting your fruit, and I'm sitting on the feasting table. I'm like, have that kind of intimacy. And sometimes believers will take granted of that kind of grace in their life. And sometimes God will withdraw that presence, that manifest presence, withdraw that grace. And you will say, oh, I feel dry in my life. I feel I don't have that motive. I don't have that power. I don't have that grace to draw near to God and kind of expose, like when God's grace is not moving in our life, we just feel like, we do everything feel so hard and so difficult. So that's a partly what this verse 6 talking about. Like, I saw him, but I could not find him. I called him, but he gave me no answer. So beloved, don't be surprised when you go into that season. You just keep staying the court, keep push, keep press in, keep praise yourself, position yourself before him. And then there's a season you're gonna go through. Your faith will be tested, your love will be tested, and that is good for you. Okay. All right, continue. Verse 7. So there's a twofold testing. First testing is that God drawing back his manifest presence and kind of withdraw his grace, withdraw his he give breakthrough and he give manifest presence, but he withdraw that for us to kind of feel that there's kind of hardness, it's kind of hard to move forward, but we still say yes to him. And the second test is what? The second test is being heard by other believers, spiritually, even the leaders, the spiritual leaders. So you see, verse 7, the watchman. We talk about the watchman in a city is a spiritual leader. So what happened to those spiritual leaders? The watchman who went about the city found me. What they did? Did they comfort her? Did they cherish her? Did they encourage her? Did they protect her? No, none of that. Verse 7, he say, they struck me. So basically this spiritual leader, they didn't recognize the calling in her life. They didn't recognize the God's calling in her life. So they kind of abuse her. See, they struck her and they wounded her. And then the keepers of the wall took my veil away from me. That means take the spiritual covering, take away the ministry out of her. You see, sometimes God will allow certain people in our life to bring the challenge into our life. Now, we talk about David. In the journey of David to be a mature king, in the young age of David, he already called to be king, but he is not immediately be king. He walked through many years of wilderness and challenge. He walked many years of betrayal, and then the persecution. Spiritually from what? From the people should cover him. Through the people should love him. Saul, King Saul, actually is his father-in-law. So Saul should be, his dear family should cover him, should protect him, should raising him up, be a king. Because everybody know the prophecy of this young man's life, and everybody see the grace in his life that he killed the Goliath when he in a young age. But instead of allow him to grow, and instead of bless him and cherish him and encourage him to take leadership position or to be strong in the Lord, the king saw what? He envy of David. He's jealous of David. So he's time to betray David. He want to kill David. He want to wipe him away. So King Saul can be in that position. So see, sometimes God allow those kind of tragedy, allow people are more powerful than us, more high position than us to persecute us, to mistreat us. God is sad. God's heart is broken over this. But God knows when He allows those things happen in our life, in David's life, it was somehow that kind of pressure, that kind of testing in our life actually will purify our character and will make our character have perseverance, make our character mature and make our life stronger. And well, in a different person, some people will grow bitter, some people will grow offended to people and to God, but to some people, when their heart got broken again and again and again, and they trust God, and they have forgiveness in their life to forgive those people who hurt them, and especially those leaders, those people higher position, and that actually create a life that he grow his love, he grow his capacity, and train him be a better leaders, train him up have a bigger heart, and have that mercy in their heart to not do the same thing to their next generation or younger people. And they will know how to shepherd them, just how God raised David. You know, God say in the Bible, say, I'm going to raise out a shepherd, a good shepherd like David in the end time. You know, so God is using all those different situations to train David to be a good shepherd. Even in those leaders are persecuted him. Think about Saul is hired 3,000 best soldiers to search his life. But God's protecting him. God is, in his mystery way, is created a scenario that will grow David's faith, will grow David's character, will make that pressure will make him go deeper in God and more trust in God and more rely on God and not take everything granted. So that's how God raised David. Let's talk about Joseph as well. You see, Joseph, he was greatly favored by his father. His father loved him when he growing up, make the beautiful, colorful robe. You know, so Joseph should be raising up as a kind of a prince kind of a very honored son growing up in Jacob's family, but because of jealousy of his brother, what happened to Joseph? He betrayed by his elderly brothers. Those elderly brothers sold him out. And he not just got sold once. He got sold, become a prisoner. He went to Egypt. And then what happened to the leader government of the Egypt? They bought him, bring him to his home, and he doing so good because God's with him. He's a favor of that whole family, and he became a top servant in that whole family. He become very trusted servant in that big, wealthy, powerful family. And what betrayed him? Like the leader's wife betrayed him. She betrayed him by accusing him, want to rape her. See? If you are Joseph, if you're facing that kind of life tragedy, that you try to love God and you try to be righteous, you're doing nothing wrong, and you got betrayed by the family members of yours. You got sold out and you become slave, and then you walk from the bottom and you go to the step by step, year by years, you become you work very hard, you are faithful, and then you become a very high position, and you got betrayed again and got put in a jail by doing nothing wrong. Beloved, he in a jail, he's not offended to God. He still keep his heart clean. He still rely on God. He is still believing what God is saying to him through the dreams. So see, so the favor of God still with him. So very soon in the jail, he become a very good prisoner, and then God bless him. And then he interpret the dream, 2 dreams. And then what happened? The dream come true. One person got killed and one person got released by the Pharaoh of the Egypt. And then what happened? The one got released, totally forgot about him. So still left him in the jail. So he's still in the jail. You see, that's another betrayal. And then what happened after that? Finally, when God's time comes, when his character is growing to the maturity, his faith has been tested, his love for God has been tested. He didn't grow bitterness in his heart. He didn't say, "Oh God, forget about you. Your promise is fake. Your promise is nonsense. You see, almost half my life is in a jail when I believe in you. That's how you treat me, blah, blah, blah." He didn't say that. He's still trusting God. And God give him favor everywhere he go, even in the jail. So finally, when God's timing come, the Pharaoh have a dream. And the man got the governor of the Egypt remembered, "Oh, there's a boy in the jail who know the dream. He interpreted my dream and it's come true." And then he told Pharaoh, and Pharaoh take him out of jail, and then Joseph interpret to the dream for Pharaoh and what happened to Joseph. And he become the most powerful man in Egypt. And then God's using him to save his whole family, whole tribe. And then in the final day, those people who are betray him, those brothers are bowing down to him. See, this is God's way. A lot of the time when God testing our life, testing our heart, we are very confused. But when you think about David, when you think about Joseph, when you think of Moses, so many Bible character and people in the Bible, they all got tested in their life before they go into the fullness of what God calling them into. So beloved, me and you will also need to be tested. We also need to go into those seasons that we trust God and we push through all those difficulty, challenge and persecution and mistreated by people we love and betrayal and but God's timing is different than our timing. And we need to trust him in those kind of challenge. God will give us grace to keep going if we rely on him. So I'm not talking about Joseph is a superhero, David a superhero. I think in the lowest of a low of their moment, when they cry out to God, God really released the grace in their life to walk through those dark nights, to walk through those challenges. So beloved, when you walk through those challenges, don't give up, don't give in. Don't say, forget it. God's promises, maybe I heard it wrong, or God's promise will never come through, and David will always talk to you. God's lying to you. God's forget about you. And David would like to look at you loser, you totally failure, you just give up, give in. God already forget about you. And you just go away. God is giving up on you. Don't believe those lies. Don't believe those lies. In that moment, you need to cry out to God. You need to come closer to God. You need to say, God, I'm here. I'm broken. I'm desperate, needed you. I don't feel about your presence. I feel you are delaying. You are not breaking through. But I'm trusting you. I put my trust in you. I'm not backing down. I will love you even in the challenge, in the circumstance of challenge and suffering. I will still trust you. And that you will grow maturity in love. And your faith will be tested. I tell you, that will be good for you. That will be good for you. And in God's timing, he will really break in. And when you're looking back, you say, God, thank you for those seasons. Thank you for those moments. To building my character, to prepare my heart for the greater things. For me to know God in this deeper way. In those dark nights, I experience God in a different way. So beloved, God is so wise. He's a good leader. Okay. So if we don't give up, if we don't give in, then breakthrough will come. We will overcome. God's grace will always be enough for us. Look at David. 3,000 people are chasing him, trying to kill him. But if God not allow them to touch David, nobody can touch David. Nobody can stop David to be king. Only one person can stop David, is David himself. If David himself when he think, all right, God, I quit. I'm not gonna run this heart anymore. I'm not gonna pursue you anymore. I'm giving up and giving up. I'm bitter. The life is too hard. And I'm gonna just wasting my life. I'm just gonna check out. I'm going to get drunk and I'm just giving up and giving. And if that is the case, David will not go into his calling. So it's determined on David himself. So beloved, it's determined on you. Are you willing to not quit in most challenge situation? Will you not draw back or giving up and giving in the most difficult time? If you are not giving up and giving, God will never give you up. God will always give you grace. He will, in the most urgent moment, He will break in. He will help you. He will give you daily bread. Sometimes we freak out. Oh God, like I feel I don't have a future. I don't have a tomorrow. I don't see where this gonna go, and feel like this is terrible situation, and I feel so much pressure. But if you trust God, God will always break in the right time, and God will, it will break in the last moment, and He will provide, He will heal, He will give you strength, He will open a door for you, and things like that. So don't give up, don't give in. So, verse 8. After this twofold challenge and testing, one is God withdraw His grace, withdraw His presence. The beloved at that moment feel she's living in darkness. She's lonely. She doesn't feel close to God. Okay, so that's the first test. Second test is she's being mistreated. She's been mistreated by other believers, especially spiritual leaders. But look how she responds to those testing. It's verse 8. She's talking to the daughter of Jerusalem. The daughter of Jerusalem is talking about other believers. Okay. The daughter of Jerusalem also talk about the younger believers. He said, I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem. She said, if you find my beloved, that you tell him I am lovesick. What does that tell you? That means, beloved, the bride, Sulamite girl, she said, daughter of Jerusalem, I tell you, after I facing this challenge and testing, the twofold challenge, even though I feel terrible, I feel my heart is broken, I feel extremely pressure, and I feel I'm walking in a dark night. I don't see the light, but I tell you one thing. I'm not offended to God. I am lovesick. Beloved, this is the response God's looking for when He is allowing the challenge to come in our way, when He's allowing the north winds blowing our life, when He's allowing we walk through the death of valley of shadow, and then we say, God, I already prayed this before. I remember my prayer. I say, my life is yours. You do whatever you want to do to make my life mature, to make my life bear fruit. Even in the midst of challenge and difficulty and suffering, I will still love you. See? So she really did it. She really did what she prayed for. And she really overcome. She have a victory life. You see, verse 8. So I'm not offended at him. I'm not saying, why God you do this? Why God you didn't do that? Why God you didn't break in? Why God you allow this thing happen? No, she didn't say that. She said, if you find my beloved, tell him, I am lovesick. I didn't change my love in the challenge, in mistreated, in the pressure time. I'm not changed my life. I'm not changed my position. I am lovesick. Oh, I still love him. I miss him. I miss when feel so close to him. I miss when he touched my heart. Oh, beloved, this is God's looking for. This God's looking for our heart to respond when we got tested. And that's a real love, beloved. That's not a small thing. This love to God is so valuable to him, so precious. And when we are walking through those season, he's weeping with us, but he is so near to us. And when our heart is trusting him, when our heart is just believing in him, and our heart is still not quitting to love him, oh, that moved God's heart. So what happened to verse 9? Verse 9 is, the daughter of Jerusalem are saying, see, these are two types of people, see. First is the spiritual leaders who are blind in their spiritual eyes. They didn't see the season that beloved is walking through. They didn't see the grace of God in her life and the calling of God in her life. So in many different reasons, maybe for jealousy or for all different reasons, they persecute her. They push her away. They take away the spiritual coverage and they take away the ministry of her. But there's another group of people, is that of Jerusalem, who are being drawn to beloved, because they sense that they see, who are you? Like why you are so different? Why your life is so different? We want to know what you know about God. We want to learn what you know about God. We are very curious. We see your lifestyle. We see how you love God. It's really provoking us. So that's what happened here. So that's verse 9. When they say, what in those kind of challenge, in those kind of difficulty, you are not offended, and you still say you love him, you love sick? What? What did you know that we don't know? So verse 9 basically is those daughter of Jerusalem say, what is your beloved more than other beloved? Okay, let's talk about this first. What is your beloved? What is this Jesus you are talking about are more than other beloved? What is other beloved? You know, even with the believers in this world, they have other beloveds. They don't have the beloved. They don't have that one, that most exalted one. Jesus is the beloved. They have other beloved. They have many lovers of the world. They are chasing different dreams, different, the wealth, the comfort of the world, and the pleasure of the world, and the different even ministry or successful life and fame and money and pressure and addiction. You can talk many things that are lover of their life. But they see this beloved Sulami girl. She has unusual devotion to Jesus. So provoking their heart to ask that question. Say, okay, I know Jesus is good. But how do you know that Jesus is really different than how we know Jesus? How your relationship with Jesus is very different than our relationship to Jesus. So talk to us about this. So basically that's verse 9. What is your beloved more than other beloved? When you love Jesus so much than anything else, how you love God in so intensely focused way is you don't care about other thing else. So that's basically their question. So see, what is your beloved more than other beloved? And then verse 10, the beloved starting to share, let me tell you what my beloved is. And she's starting to line by line, point by point, talking about the beauty of Jesus. That is from verse 10 to all the way to verse 16. Every contribute, every character of Jesus, she's line by line saying, this is my beloved. He's altogether beautiful. Blah, 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 blah. Line by line, tell them the beauty of Jesus. Boom, and blow their mind. So you go to chapter 6. Chapter 6, verse 1. So after beloved telling them about the beauty of Jesus. So all those daughters of Jerusalem in verse 6, chapter 6 saying, verse 1. Now they are really being provoked. Now they say, where has your beloved gone? Where has your beloved turned aside, that we may seek him with you? So now those daughters of Jerusalem, after seeing the testimony of this beloved, how her love for God and how she has a revelation of the beauty of Jesus, now provoke their life to follow Jesus as well. Did you see that? Verse 1, chapter 6. He said, now tell me, where is your beloved? Now that we may seek him with you. I want to seek the one you're talking about, the beautiful Jesus, the bridegroom King Jesus. I want to seek him like you seek him. Tell me how you do it. Tell me how can I have a better relationship with Jesus. So beloved, this is a question you can ask yourself. With your lifestyle, with your devotion to Jesus, provoking other believers to ask this question. Tell me what you know about Jesus that I don't know. Somehow I see your lifestyle. I see that glory in you, that unusual love for Jesus in your life, that you are very different than other believers, that you have a devotion, love for Jesus. Tell me about what you know that I don't know, because I don't feel I'm that close to Jesus. I'm not that close to Jesus, but I see you so close to Jesus in a way that even in the midst of difficulty, challenges, and you have no offender in your life, and you are not drawing back, you are not giving up, you are still trusting in him, and you are still trusting his love and his leadership and his promises. Tell me about this God you believe. Tell me about all the testimony you have. I want to know God like you do. So basically, that is that's the reaction of the daughter of Jerusalem. Okay, so let's going back to chapter 5. We only have 5 minutes left. Let's just go very quickly. Okay, so verse 10, she said, the beloved is because they ask, tell me about your beloved. What is your beloved more than other beloved? Tell me how you see God. More than other beloved. You can deny yourself in that kind of way. You can giving up all those other beloved to chase this one beloved. Tell me about him. So she's okay. I tell you who my beloved is. I tell you the beauty of my bridegroom Jesus. So that starts in verse 10, chapter 5. She said, my beloved is white and ruddy. Beloved, what do you think about? What you remind you about? This verse remind me of Revelation chapter 4. Remember? When John got caught up in the third heaven, he seen the one sitting on the throne. He said what? The one jasper and what? Sardius. Of course, this is Father God. He said, there's a brilliant light coming out from the throne. And sardius. Well, when we talk about sardius, what? The fire of God. But now you see here, when beloved is talking about Jesus, he also said he's a brilliant light. Other translations, he's dazzling. So that's a shining bright light. White is a little bit weak, but it's like bright light. So my beloved is bright and shine. His glory, his beauty is like exploding light and ruddy. It's talking about red. What are we talking about? The fiery emotion, the fiery God. So Jesus himself also is burning with desire. So it's white and ruddy. Okay. And he is chief among 10,000. He's beautiful, more beautiful than anything else. And he said his head is like finest gold. What's mean his head? His head mean his leadership. You know, his leadership over my life is perfect. It's like a pure gold. And his lock mean his hair. We talk about hair as what? The dedication. That Jesus' dedication to the Father, and also Jesus' dedication to us. And then also verse 12, talk about his eyes. When we talk about Jesus' eyes, we talk about his wisdom, his discernment, his knowledge, his understanding. All that is talk about his eyes. And also verse 13, his cheeks is talking about his emotion. Yeah, we talk about the God's emotion. He's burning with a fire. He has strong emotion to us. And his joy, and his like sadness when we are sad, and he's smiling when we are. He's enjoying our relationship. Is talking about his emotions, about his cheeks, and talk about his lips, about his word, when his word touching us, and it's talking about verse 14. His hands talking about his work. You know how he move in our life. How what's his works in our life, and then we talk about his body. His body is, we can talk about his compassionate. He's talking about his body is broken for us. He's talking about the compassionate. And then verse 15, talk about his leg. It's talking about his way. His width, and Jesus, you show us the path of life. You show us the path of life, that your way. You give a path. You show us how to walk. You show us the path of life. And his countenance in verse 15 in last sentence, his countenance is his imputation, that when he shine his face in countenance to us, that means he's imparted his glory, his beauty, his grace, his wisdom to us. And verse 16, his mouth is so about his intimacy with us. And see, he's altogether lovely. He's a daughter of Jerusalem, I tell you. He's altogether lovely. And this is my dearest friend. Oh, the daughter of Jerusalem, that is my beloved. So thou cast them on chapter 6, verse 1. Tell me, where did he go? I want to seek him with you. Beloved, this is chapter 5. Let's pray. Jesus, thank you for the word. Today, thank you for showing us this beautiful journey with you. God, I just ask you to reveal more and more that you are so willing to partner with us. And you, even in we want to say, even in the midst of challenge and suffering in the future or presence, that we will say, God, that your will be done, and we will love you. And God, help us understand your love, and help us understand this journey in Jesus' name. Amen. Bless you, bless you, bless you.